It takes a lot to make an impact in mixed martial arts. Simply winning is almost never enough. Fans want you to win spectacularly, say something witty after you do it, and then be interesting or relatable the rest of the time. It's a tough business to succeed in, but on this list we're looking at active fighters who have gone beyond simply being cheered for and reached nearly universal praise and adoration. These 10 athletes can seemingly do no wrong and are cherished by the community for their abilities in and outside of the cage, as well as the connection they've made with the fans. I'm Tommy from MMA On Point, and these are the 10 most beloved fighters competing today.
Damn, boy.
Number 10. Korean Zombie. Chan Sung Jung holds a very unique distinction on this list because the vast majority of the English-speaking audience has never been able to understand him in his own words. The South Korean fighter first became more widely known at WEC 48 when he had a banger with Leonard Garcia. Then there was of course that awesome t-shirt that people wanted even if they didn't know who he was. Since entering the UFC in a rematch with Garcia in 2011 where he finished his rival with the first ever twister in the promotion, Zombie has been putting on a show every outing, earning a performance bonus in all of his UFC fights besides his title bout with Jose Aldo at UFC 163. In a word, Zombie is exciting, and fans know when he walks down to the cage, it's going to be blood and guts from start to finish. Never has there been a fighter more on brand either. Everything about him represents his moniker. The walkout music, Zombie. His incredible durability, Zombie. He mostly goes by the nickname. There are probably fans that only know him as Korean Zombie. It's how he's often billed even. That is brand synergy right there. Bottom line is when you see Korean Zombie is booked for a fight, you're getting excitement and fans love him for it. Number 9. Robbie Lawler. There are so many things that make Robbie Lawler awesome. He's an OG pre-tough UFC vet, and old school fans love him for it. He had this incredible journey to the top of the sport that all of us can relate to on some level, and it's inspiring. From leaving the UFC in 2005 to his awesome run in Elite XC and Strikeforce, to then capturing welterweight gold at UFC 181 after being in the sport for more than a decade. Then he gave us back-to-back two of the greatest fights in UFC history against Rory McDonald and Carlos Condit with three of the sport's most iconic images. The mid-fight stare-down with Rory, Robbie's torn mouth screaming in victory, and he and Condit resting against the cage. Lawler represents the purest and most awesome violence the sport can allow, and fans adore him for it. Never one to play games or talk very much trash.
Because if I hurt him, I wasn't taking his neck.
What were you gonna take?
His soul.
The stoic Lawler comes across as an honorable martial artist, and at the same time an absolute axe murderer. He's there to do his business, and you know when he shows up it's going to be a fight, win or lose. Forever a hardcore favorite, the tough-as-nails Lawler can do no wrong in the eyes of most fans. Number 8. Valentina Shevchenko. How can you not just love Valentina Shevchenko? The 32-year-old Kyrgyzstani Thai boxing champion has been dazzling fans in the UFC since 2015, with her only losses coming to Amanda Nunes. The current and possibly forever flyweight champion is considered the second best female fighter on the roster and has some amazing performances, one of her most spectacular a head kick KO of Jessica Ai. But of course there's so much more to being beloved than just being awesome at fighting. Shevchenko, despite English being her third or fourth language, is entertaining and charming as hell in an interview. Her open workout shows with her sister are top-notch, as is her post-fight victory dancing. She loves guns. I mean, she really loves them a lot. She's honestly the closest thing in real life to Marvel's Black Widow, which is possibly why Ben Askren jokingly accused her of being a spy, which of course she was great about because she's awesome.
I'm not a spy.
There was that silly play feud with championship black hole Henry Cejudo for the greatest flyweight in the world. She's a class act towards her opponents, but can throw a barb when she needs to, like when she was asked if she'd be giving Nico Montano a shot at her title after having dropped out of their previous outing.
Who's that?
That answers my question.
When she's not helping the Avengers beat Thanos, she's being one of the most enjoyable fighters on the UFC roster. Number 7. Stephen Thompson. Whoever said nice guys finish last clearly never met Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. The karate fighter's unique style has of course led to some awesome finishes fans absolutely loved and propelled him into 2 shots at UFC Gold. But even more so, it's his personality that has made him so beloved amongst the fans of the sport. MMA is a rough place with rough people, and that is generally the expectation. This isn't family game night, it's cage fighting, face the pain. And while there are respectful fighters, you'd be hard-pressed to find too many as nice as Thompson. He is, after all, the nicest mofo belt holder. But seriously, he's never had a malicious thing to say about anyone. Even in defeat, he seems in better spirits than the person that beat him. And nobody can ever really get mad at him. Darren Till hilariously called him out on Instagram and then basically apologized. Darren Till! Watch Wonderboy play charades with Tyron Woodley on UFC tonight and tell me you don't want him to be your best friend. He's also funny as hell with some really great comedic timing.
What's up, everybody? everybody. That's kind of catchy. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said they wanted it like as a phone background or something, a ringtone.
He has a mainstream appeal that the UFC loves, but the hardcore base enjoys him just as much, and anybody who walks out to Tenacious D is a winner in my book. Number 6, Derrick Lewis. Forget the baddest, forget the nicest, those are up for debate. The funniest motherfucker, though, is not, and it's 100% Derrick Lewis. The Black Beast has been entertaining UFC fans in the cage since 2014 with his brutal brawling style, his incredible chin and heart, and of course some fantastic finishes. That alone is more than enough to ingratiate him with the fans, but on top of it, Lewis brings a humor to the sport that I would argue has never been seen and will probably never be replicated. He has a natural comedic timing and delivery that, as someone who's been trying to write comedy for nearly a decade now, I can't even come close to touching. His greatest hits are, of course,
my balls was hot.
And
what round they rise and fine ass at?
But nearly all of his interviews are hilarious. In the cage, during fight week, a random appearance on Ariel Helwani, he kills every single time.
I'm more happy about the Popeyes contract than the UFC contract.
He's even funny when he's not trying to be, like falling asleep mid-press conference. In addition to all these great moments, he's also done some very funny sketch work.
Hello, white people. I love my neighborhood.
He's a killer on social media. Joe Rogan will forever plug his insane Instagram page every time Lewis is walking out for a fight that he's calling.
A shout out to his Instagram page on one of the UFC broadcasts. And now it's got like, what does he have? How many followers does he have now?
1.6 million.
1.6 million?
If he wasn't also so fun to watch in the cage, the humor might be lost on some fans, but the combination has created a fighter that everyone is excited to see fight and then have a microphone put in his face.
I'm gonna bang his ass up.
Number 5, Justin Gaethje. There may not be another fighter on the planet who can deliver on excitement almost guaranteed like Justin Gaethje. When he entered the UFC unbeaten in 2017, his reputation preceded him. The man was an annihilator in the World Series of Fighting as their lightweight champion, putting down 9 of his 10 opponents in the promotion. He came firing right out of the gate with an instant classic against Michael Johnson, and while he stumbled a bit after that against Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier, it wasn't for lack of trying, earning 2 more Fight of the Night bonuses. He's the new bonus king of the sport. He has more bonuses than he has UFC fights, and it's because he is truly spectacular to watch regardless of what happens. If he's winning, it's brutal and incredible finishes. If he's losing, he's taking a beating that defies our understanding of consciousness.
You know that with Gaethje, he just comes, he knows one speed, full speed.
He's the guy nobody should truly ever want to fight. He's also got this amazing life outlook. He is fully aware of the danger he's in, he just doesn't care. He could wrestle, but it's not fun. After beating Tony Ferguson for the interim lightweight title, he defiantly threw the belt down like a badass because the real one is all that matters. Justin Gaethje is quite simply a bad motherfucker and embodies so much of what fans love about this sport. Speaking of BMFs, Number 4, Jorge Masvidal. There's something about authenticity in this sport that fans admire deeply. When the likes of Chael Sonnen and Conor McGregor largely turned the fight game into one focused on brash talk, many fighters attempted to replicate their success by being somebody they're not. Enter Jorge Masvidal.
You did say one thing in there, which is, I'm not great at a promo. Masvidal, you are so damn good at a promo. I've got to tell you, I don't know where you possibly got that idea.
Much like the ultra-popular Diaz brothers, Jorge has been who he is since he was fighting in Kimbo Slice's backyard. It's just that most fans weren't paying attention until last year. Miami-Dade's finest stunned the UK crowd when he leveled Darren Till in their Fight Night main event, and then backstage he stunned Leon Edwards for talking some shit. Between the win, the viral video of the altercation backstage, and an all-time classic interview with Brett Okamoto that night,
it's on video me defending myself. This hooligan threatened my well-being, my life. I was scared, man.
Masvidal's star was finally born after competing as a pro for 16 years. Now that was certainly the turning point, but I truly believe Gamebred reached beloved status when he was paired with super popular unbeaten wrestler Ben Askren, who many fans assumed would wipe the floor with him. His flying knee KO 5 seconds into the fight will probably forever be the coolest moment in MMA history, and that was it. Masvidal was now superstar status. Bring on The Rock and the President for his domination of Nate Diaz, where he got a belt they made just for the fight. Whether he's feuding with someone like former friend Colby Covington,
the universe is gonna correct that mistake via me.
Very calmly discussing baptizing his opponents.
Street Jesus, if you get baptized by me, you know where you go, right? Shadow realm, baby.
Or fighting the UFC for more cash, he is always captivating, he's always game-bred, and fans respect that. Number 3, Donald Cerrone. Anyone, anytime, anywhere. Donald Cerrone is the embodiment of that philosophy. He almost seems like a character out of a movie somehow come to life with his ridiculous outfits and bravado, his insane out-of-the-cage adventures, and his notorious love for booze and tobacco. He's like Doc Holliday. He came from money but chose to be a gunfighter. Cerrone doesn't need to fight, he wants to fight, and you truly truly get the sense it's the rush that keeps him coming back.
A different kind of feeling when you walk out and everyone's roaring your name and chanting, screaming, "Cowboy, cowboy." I hope they continue to do that because I'm going to keep fighting until they stop.
Whenever someone drops out of a marquee bout on short notice, it doesn't matter what division, fans are waiting for Cerrone to throw his hat into the ring and fly out to wherever the card is on 2 days' notice to kick some ass. He's had his share of ups and downs over the years and has never realized gold.
Sometimes you just don't show up to work, so you get your ass kicked.
But with the most wins and the most finishes in UFC history, fans simply don't care. He could lose 9 fights in a row and people would still be excited to see him. His son Danger, because of course his son is named Danger, inspired a really fun run of fights starting in 2018 and going all the way through to the Tony Ferguson bout. His headlining spot with Conor McGregor earlier this year, a testament to his staying power with the fans. Number 2, Max Holloway. The best is blessed, baby. Max Holloway is most certainly a contender for Stephen Thompson's Nicest Mofo title, and he can crack a joke about as well as anyone not named Derrick Lewis. He's fun in interviews. He's always an enjoyable presence on fight week, but his happy smiles and good nature don't make him a pushover in the cage. In fact, it's his absolute love of the scrap that makes his fight such a visceral experience. Holloway's career has been defined by his legendary output and his propensity to get into wars for the sake of war. Despite being way up on the scorecards, asking Ricardo Lamas to stand in the middle and throw with him at the end of the fight is a moment that encapsulates a bit of what it is that makes Max a fan favorite. He simply loves to fight. He loves these battles. He is all about the long game. His 13-fight win streak from 2014 to 2019 was an incredible feat for its length alone, but his title fights with Jose Aldo, Brian Ortega, and Dustin Poirier were just absolutely ridiculous, earning Fight of the Night honors with all 3. His good-hearted nature with his opponents before, during, and after the fight, win or lose, are truly what martial arts are all about.
Max just gave me his gloves for the good fight.
As is his readiness to throw down on a moment's notice. I haven't even mentioned his son Rush yet, who might be the coolest kid of all time. Max is a reminder that being a killer doesn't mean you have to be an angry jerk. His infectious love of fighting, a huge hit with fans.
It is what it is.
Number 1. Daniel Cormier. There's simply nobody in MMA like DC. He has it all. Of course, he's a world-class fighter. He's one of the all-time greats. He's been in some incredible bouts, had some amazing moments, double champ status. He's nearly done it all. He's also amazing at promoting his fights, whether it's trash talk with a bitter rival like John Jones, or someone he has a bit more respect for like Stipe Miocic. He knows how to play the game. Look no further than his confrontation with Brock Lesnar after UFC 226. Push me now, go to sleep later, what a line. But he is so much more than that. There's plenty of fighters that can win and sell fights.
They said, Daniel, what do you want? I said, I want the easiest fight in the division. I want Ryan Bader.
DC's work as an analyst and a commentator has made him one of the voices of the sport for many fans. His energy when making calls, the insights he presents in ways casual viewers can understand. He's one of the best and most entertaining commentators in all of sports, period. He is almost always smiling, almost always good-natured, almost.
I could look like a crackhead with a suit on, but I've never been a crackhead like you don't. So you can say I look like one, but I've never been one.
He's just a likable guy. You want him to succeed and you feel bad when he doesn't. You want to have a beer with DC and talk about fights and give him a fucking high five. But it's more than that even. Yes, he's highly entertaining. Yes, fans love when he fights. But he also has a natural leadership about him that makes him a great representative of the sport. Hell, Jones even said he wishes he was like Cormier. If Dana White ever retires, my choice for the new UFC president is DC all the way. He's brought so much to the sport already and will likely continue to add to his contributions for years to come.
I love you, Luke.
You too. Good luck.
He said it. I got it.
Huge shout out to the pride of the West Midlands, Tom Moore, for putting his editing sorcery to work on this video. Follow him on Twitter at TomMJMoore. A big thank you to Ben Rosette, who provided that sweet tune you heard in the intro. Check out his music by clicking the link in the description and go give him a follow on his Instagram and Twitter page at Ben Rosette. Thanks for watching. Please give us a like and subscribe. We've got 3 new videos or more for you every single week. Let us know what you thought of the video in the comments below. Follow On Point MMA on Twitter, and have yourself a wonderful day.